The sound of screeching tires shattered the quiet night. Lola had just finished packing the small basket where she kept the few roasted plantains she had not sold that evening. The roadside was almost empty. Only a few distant streetlights flickered weakly, and the night air carried the smell of dust and fuel from the nearby highway. She stepped off the curb, preparing to cross the road. Suddenly, bright headlights flashed toward her. A car accelerated directly at her. Instinct took over. Lola jumped backward at the last second, falling hard onto the ground as the car sped past her. The wind from it knocked her basket into the gutter, scattering plantains across the road. The car didn't slow down. It disappeared into the darkness as if nothing had happened. Lola sat on the ground trembling. Her heart pounded loudly in her chest. She knew the truth immediately. That was not an accident. Someone wanted her dead. And there was only one person desperate enough to do that. Ken. The next morning, Raymond was inside his office reviewing documents when his phone rang. The number was unfamiliar and he almost ignored it, but something made him answer. Hello? A weak voice responded. Sir, it's me, Lola. Raymond stood up immediately. What happened? There was a long pause before she spoke again. Someone tried to kill me last night. Within 30 minutes, Raymond's black SUV pulled up beside the roadside where Lola normally sold her plantains. When he stepped out of the car and saw the bruises on her arms and the fear in her eyes, his expression hardened. This has gone too far, he said quietly. He already knew who was responsible. Back at the company headquarters later that afternoon, Ken sat in the conference room pretending everything was normal. Several managers were present, discussing routine company matters. The door opened. Raymond walked in. The entire room fell silent. Raymond didn't speak at first. Instead, he calmly placed a photograph on the table in front of Ken. Ken glanced down. It was a picture of Lola. For a brief moment, his face froze. Then he forced a casual smile. Do you recognize her? Raymond asked calmly. Ken leaned back in his chair. No, should I? Raymond studied him carefully. Someone tried to kill her last night. Ken shrugged. That has nothing to do with me. Raymond didn't argue. Instead, he slowly removed the watch from his wrist and placed it on the table. He said, I stopped wearing it. Ken's eyes widened before he could control himself. That one reaction confirmed Raymond's suspicion. Later that evening, Raymond arranged a small apartment for Lola. It wasn't luxurious, but it was clean and safe. For the first time in years, Lola stepped into a place she could truly call home. But despite the comfort, she looked troubled. This isn't over, she said quietly. Raymond frowned. What do you mean? Lola closed her eyes, as if sensing something far away. Ken is desperate now, she whispered. Across the city, Ken sat inside a dimly lit bar with Django, the man he had hired to silence Lola. Ken's patience was gone. You had one job, he said angrily. Django calmly sipped his drink. She moved at the last second. Ken slammed his fist on the table. Then finish it tonight. Django smiled slowly. This time, she won't escape. Meanwhile, inside the apartment Raymond had rented for her, Lola suddenly sat upright on the couch. Her breathing became fast. Raymond noticed immediately. What is it? Lola stared toward the door. He's coming. At that exact moment, the lights in the apartment flickered and went out. The hallway outside became silent. Then, footsteps. Slow, heavy, moving closer. Raymond stood up and positioned himself in front of Lola. The doorknob turned. The door burst open. Django stepped inside, holding a knife that glinted in the faint hallway light. Move aside, he said calmly. I'm not here for you. But before Raymond could react, Lola stepped forward. Her expression was calm. You shouldn't be here, she said softly. Django laughed and rushed forward with the knife. But suddenly, his body froze mid-step. His arm trembled violently. What is this? He struggled. Lola closed her eyes. It was as if an invisible force filled the room. Django collapsed to the floor, unconscious. Raymond stared in shock. "How did you do that?" Lola slowly opened her eyes. "The watch," she said quietly. "It carries something dark. I can feel things connected to it." Raymond realized then that Lola had abilities he didn't fully understand. The next morning, Raymond contacted the police. Django was arrested and quickly confessed everything. He revealed that Ken had hired him. When the authorities confronted Ken, he tried to deny everything at first, but the evidence against him was overwhelming. Financial records, phone calls, and Django's testimony exposed the entire plot. Ken was arrested inside his office. As the police led him away in handcuffs, he glared at Raymond with hatred. "You think this is over," he bitterly said. But it was. Weeks later, the investigation into the cursed watch revealed something disturbing. The watch had once belonged to a powerful businessman who had mysteriously died years earlier. Everyone who possessed it afterwards suffered strange accidents or financial ruin. Raymond decided to destroy it. One evening, he and Lola traveled outside the city to an abandoned quarry. With one powerful swing of a hammer, Raymond smashed the watch into pieces and threw them deep into the water below. For the first time in months, Lola smiled peacefully. Life slowly returned to normal. Raymond offered Lola a proper job at his company, helping manage one of his charity programs for homeless youth. She accepted. Months later, the small charity grew into a major foundation that helped hundreds of people find housing, education, and work. One afternoon, Raymond stood outside the new shelter building and watched several children playing in the courtyard. Lola walked up beside him. "You've changed many lives," she said. Raymond smiled. "You started it the day you pulled that watch off my wrist." Lola looked at the sky thoughtfully. Sometimes the smallest actions save the biggest lives. And for the first time since that dark night, both of them knew the danger was finally over. Before you click away, don't forget to like and subscribe